seed. And farmers aware in the seed multiplication and quality assurance. Means if we get aware the farmers for the multiplication and the quality assurance through proper capacity building activities and appropriate credit scheme. So if we strengthen all these things, so the farmer will be aware and in the seed multiplication and for the seed quality assurance. As we discussed that public-private partnership should be increased for the production and supply of the quality seed, along with the guiding the small and marginal farmers to convert their farm into an economic viable farm enterprises. Actually, vegetables are grown by the small and medium farmers. So if we train them for the seed production, so they can convert their small fields into the small viable farm enterprises. So it will help to enhance their income. So same thing that this if we go for the seed production part, so it will help the farmers to doubling their income by the 2022. Generally, the farmers are not aware about the seed production, certified seed production procedure. Actually, for certified seed production, the foundation and certified seed, both farmer can produce at their own with the permission of the seed certification agency. But the breeder seed, they cannot produce. The breeder seed production is the responsibility of ICR and SAE. So they are not aware of the certified seed production procedure. So if we train the farmers regarding the registration of seed production, seed certification, field inspections at the time of certification, labeling and taking of the seed, so it will be helpful farmer to get involved in the seed production system. And simultaneously, the research priorities, as these we discussed in the previous slides, these research priorities, if the policymaker consider, so they can manage the things and they can make the policies accordingly. Research, education, and extension organizations may evaluate their present line of work and may allocate resource according to the identified priorities in the vegetable seed sector. Coming to the third policy related problem, that is the private companies or private agencies, they are concentrating on the low volume or high value crop because they are in the business of seed due to their means for taking money or for earning money. So they are mainly dealing with the low volume or high value crops. So if we see the Indian seed sector, it has two parts: formal system and informal system. The formal system contains the public and private seed agencies, which is supplying 30% of the seed. Or informal seed system means farmer to farmer seed. Farmer use their own saved seed, or he takes from the unregistered dealers. So this type of practice comes under the informal system, and which supply the 70% of the seed demand. Means majority of the seed is coming from the informal system. So as we discussed, the private agencies are mainly focusing on the high value and low volume crops, which are vegetables, hybrids, or BT cotton. And in India, more than 500 private seed companies are there. Among them, only 70 have their own research and development unit, and out of 70, 24 are linked with the multinational companies. And these 24 companies are fulfilling the 50% seed requirement of these high value crops, including vegetables. So, how these companies produce their seed? So these companies follow the custom seed production approach, or they import the seed from the foreign collaborators and market the seed in India. So what is the custom seed production? Actually, custom seed production is the approach for producing the seed by the group of farmers, or a complete village or a complete area is converted into a viable seed production unit. Means they will go for the similar crop variety. So there will be no issue of the isolation or any other requirements. and the company can allow all the cultural practices like fertilizer application, chemical applications, and hand pollination, emasculation in case of hybrids. So they can go for a large scale. So this type of practice private seed companies are doing for this seed production. And the price of the private sector is exorbitantly high and as compared to the public sector, because as I told that they are dealing mainly with due to the money. And one another issue is the problem of spurious seeds. Means what is going on actually? They are selling the open pollinated variety seeds in the name of F1. In the name of F1, they are producing the F2 seed in the name of hybrids. If they are having some good OP varieties, so they are selling that seed in the name of hybrid with that huge price. So this is another major problem. So actually, to overcome this issue, varietal or the hybrid purity testing procedure is there. The grow test is the recommended test, but nowadays different molecular tests are also available. This image shows that how the F1 are having the both the bands with the male and female. So it is the PS9 of brinjal, it is PH5, that is the KK means Kashi Komal. So these hybrids are having the bands from both. So clearly we can tell by seeing this profile that which seed is hybrid and which is not hybrid. So it can be controlled if we go for the varietal and hybrid purity testing. Another issue in the policy related problems is the lack of awareness and knowledge gap about the seed production. Actually, the package and practices for the vegetable production is available, but the package and practices for seed production of these vegetables is not adequately available. And the vegetable seed production differs from a normal vegetable production procedure. There's little bit difference are there regarding the isolation distance, probing, harvesting stage, seed extraction, post-harvest management. So clear package of practices crop-wise is not available in most of the vegetables. So this is a view. And another issue in the seed production is the labor. So actually vegetable seed production is labor intensive and it requires a involvement of the skilled labor, especially for the hybrid seed production. But rapid urbanization and industrialization is posing a threat to availability of these labors. The mechanization can solve the problem of shortage of workers, particularly at the time of field inspection, interculture operation and harvesting. But at the time of hand emasculation and pollination for hybrid seed production, skilled labor is required. According to a report, a payment of minimum wages is another issue in the agriculture sector, particularly in the seed production. So most of the farmers, especially the poor and marginal ones, they have lack of awareness regarding the seed quality of vegetables, and unknowingly they are using the farm saved seed. Means that they save the seed from the previous season and they use in the next season. But even in the even same practice they are doing with the hybrids also. So in case of hybrids or even in case of varieties also, so the quality of the seed does not remain same. So the yield and quality reduce, and in case of hybrids, the loss in the hybrid vigor is also seen. The problem of use of informal sector supplied seed also raised the issue of low seed replacement. As we discussed, the seed replacement rate is very low in India, which is about 15%. So this is another reason for this low seed replacement rate in India. If we go for the participatory approach or implementation of seed innovation system in India, so by following these approaches, we can strengthen the farmer's knowledge, and we can incorporate them in the seed production. Am I audible, sir?
Yes, audible.
Yeah, actually,
Yes, audible.
yeah, sir, some problem with slides. Just a minute, sir. Yeah. Farmers are also unaware about the storage of the farm seeds because as we discussed that the farmers are using their own saved seed or the farm saved seed. So, but if we allow them for the use of the farm saved seed, the good storage should be there. So they are also unaware about the storage of the this farm saved seed. So vegetable seed retained at the farmer's house generally do not perform well actually due to this faulty storage structures. Or if we standardize the appropriate storage structures or also appropriate immigration protocols such as coating, pelleting. So it can help to enhance the planting value and storability of these high value vegetable crops. So this is the geolite beads and silica gel, which can be used for the storage. Actually, at IIVR,
Dear participant, you just wait for a while because the resource person having some technical problem, and we will connect to him immediately.
hello, sir, am I audible, sir?
Audible.
Yeah, sir.
Yeah, audible.
Please allow me to share the screen. I am unable to share the screen actually. Sorry for inconvenience. Actually, we were discussing about the storage of the seed. So zeolite beads and silica gel may be a better option, maybe a better option for the storage of the seed. So actually, at IIVR in a farmer's first project, we have distributed these zeolite beads and they are working good. These zeolite beads have the ability to absorb the moisture from the seed. So it doesn't allow seed to increase its moisture content. So its viability enhances. So the quality of the seed from one season to the another season remain good. So these are the desiccator. The farmer can store the seed in this type of desiccator, or if he is not having the desiccator, he can use the airtight bottles also. So this type of packets, actually, this is the packet of IIVR. So this is nothing. This is a 3-layered aluminum coated paper, aluminum coated packet. So this type of packet farmer can use to store the seeds. Am I audible, sir? Audible. Thank you, sir. So another the problem that which is related to the policy issues is the post-harvest management. The farmers are unable to handle the post-harvest handling of the seed. So proper and suitable post-harvest handling system is very crucial to avoid the seed deterioration. If farmers is able to post-harvest management from after harvesting to the packaging of the seed. It's a lot of procedure, a lot of means practices are there, from like seed extraction, seed drying, seed cleaning, and then packaging, and then sorting. So this type of all the procedure, if farmer is aware, so he can produce a good quality seed. So these are the some equipments which we use for the processing. So farmer doesn't need to purchase all these machines, because if farmer is producing the seeds, he will have to do the seed production for any private or public sector agencies. So they will take care of that. But if the farmer has the knowledge, so he can manage the things, or he can take care at the time of field operations or at the time of harvesting. So this is the seed dryer. This is the air screen cleaner, come grader, or this is the specific gravity separator to separate the seeds on the basis of their density. And this is the seed package machine. So this was the policy related problems in the seed production system in India. And now we shift to the production related problems. What are the production related problems? The first one is the formation of higher number of underdeveloped seeds. In most of the vegetables, we have seen that the number of ovules are more, but all the ovules are not pollinated or not filled. So number of seed reduces. This is the example of okra, and this is the example of cowpea. Similarly, in cucurbits also same problem is there. The high number of chaffy seeds or underdeveloped seeds we got. So what are the main reasons? So this formation of higher number of underdeveloped or the chaffy seed may be due to improper pollination, or due to oversupply of ovule, or due to the resource limitation. So we will take one by one. So improper pollination means due to the which may be due to the reduced pollinator activity, reduced pollen load, pollen or stigma viability is not up to the mark, or it may be these all the issues may overcome by the pollination management, either by the artificial pollination, or we can go for the pollination management by the placing of the beehives, or by we can go for the pollinator attractant application. to ensure the pollination. If we ensure the pollination, so the most of the ovules will be pollinated, and we are able to get the good quality seed and higher amount of the seeds. Second possible reason may be the oversupply of ovules. Means the number of ovules are too high. The seed does the plant doesn't have the energy due to this resource limitation to fill all the pollinated seeds. So oversupply of ovules, which is also another problem, and resource limitation is another problem. So later we will discuss how these problems can be overcome. So another problem is the sensitivity to the micronutrient deficiency. Actually, most of the vegetables are highly prone to the micronutrient deficiency, or they are prone to the problematic soils, which directly affect the yield and quality. Along with that, the low efficiency of absorption. Sometimes what happens, the micronutrients or the nutrients are in the soil, but plant doesn't have the ability to absorb all these essential nutrients. So the micronutrient deficiency not only limits the productivity of crop, but also affects the seed grain development and nutritional quality of the vegetables. So this is an example of brinjal, where due to the nutrient deficiency, cracking on the fruit appears. Actually, if we talk about the micronutrients, there are the six major micronutrients which are essential. Actually, 16, 17 micronutrients are essential, but in case of vegetables or micronutrient deficiency, these six are important. And among them, zinc and iron are very crucial for the plant growth, development, and as their deficiency is very common in the various crops in Indian soil. So zinc deficiency in Indian soil is likely to increase from 49 to 63%. And micronutrient malnutrition, particularly zinc and iron, is also affect the 3 billion people. So that the deficiency of this zinc and iron directly affect to the human. Another production related problem is the exhibition of dormancy in the freshly harvested seed. In most of the vegetables like cucumber, ash gourd, bitter gourd, what happens, the freshly harvested seed doesn't allow seed to germinate. So it possesses the dormancy, which may be the morphological dormancy or the physiological dormancy or any other type of dormancy or the combination of both. So this type of issue is also there. So how we can identify the dormant seed? So dormant seed, if we go for the tetragonium test, the dormant seed will take the color. Means the dehydrogenase activity will be there. So on the basis of dehydrogenase activity, the tetragonium salt will give red color. So its red color means the seed is viable. It is having the dehydrogenase activity, but it is not able to germinate at the time of standard germination test. So there are some morphological or the physiological barriers in the seed which doesn't allow the seed to germinate at the time of fresh harvest. But once we allow the seed for a period of 1 month or 2 months, so automatically the seed become able to germinate. That may be probably due to the reduction in the internal ABA content of the seed, and which allow the seed to germinate. So another challenge is in the hybrid seed production. Actually, hybrid seed production is itself a very challenging task because in isolation is required proper, and the maintenance of parental lines means in hybrid seed production we use 2 parents or 3 parents. So maintenance of these parental lines is very difficult task, very challenging task. And standardization of planting ratio means we are taking the male and female parent, and their planting ratio is very important. Actually, if we go for the higher number of male, the number of pollen or the pollen availability will increase, but it will reduce the size of the female parent from where we are getting the seeds. So this ratio is very important. And one another thing is the assurance of the proceed. In some of the vegetables like tomato, brinjal, and many more, the hand emasculation and pollination is required for the hand pollination. So in that case, the skilled labor is required. like to removal of sepals and to removal of anthers, then bagging, then next day we have to go for the pollination. So this is the labor intensive task. So these are the problem associated with the hybrid seed production. So this was the problem or the challenges or the bottlenecks which were available with the seed production. And now we will discuss the what are the opportunities and what are the possible approaches that we can follow to overcome these aforesaid problems. In policy related issue, with the problem simultaneously we discuss the possible solution. But here we separately will discuss the another possible approaches to overcome the above said problems. So seed production under the protected structure. This may be a viable solution because in the field a lot of biotic and abiotic stresses are there, and the quality which directly affect the quality and the quantity or yield of the seed. So if you go for the seed production under protected structure, so you can get the good quality seed. As we know, the seed quality is not only determined by the genetic background, but it is also affected by the environmental conditions. So this is the crop view. This is the summer squash, and this is the cucumber in the protected structures, and you can see the luster of the crop. The significant difference in the seed yield and quality attributes, which may be attributed to the optimum growing condition under protected environment was observed. So what are the major difference actually in the protected and in open field condition? In protected condition, the plant gets the longer duration to complete its life cycle. The reduced biotic and abiotic stresses are there. The controlled environment is there, which favors the seed development and maturation. So different environmental factors such as space, time, day and night temperature, relative humidity, moisture, nutrient status, all these are optimum under the protected conditions. So the plant behave, feel healthy and produce more. So another the opportunity or the solution may be the optimization of harvesting stage and post-harvest ripening period. Actually, in vegetables, the harvesting time is very important. Actually, we can differentiate in the two types. If we are going for the vegetable production, the harvesting stage will be different because we are selling the seed at the time. Or if we are going for the seed production, the harvesting stage will be totally different because at that time our concern is the seed quality and yield. So optimum harvesting stage is very essential. Along with that, post-harvest ripening. So what is the post-harvest ripening? Post-harvest ripening means we allow the fruit after the harvest. We harvest the fruit from the plant and we allow the fruit to at the room temperature for 10 days or 20 days or 30 days. And after that, we go for the seed extraction. So this is the post-harvest ripening. So if we standardize both the timings of harvesting stage and post-harvest ripening period, so it will directly affect the quality and yield. Harvesting of the seed at appropriate time or stage is most important for the quality, as we know, and the maximum seed dry weight and quality was attained during the physiological maturity. As it is established that the physiological maturity is the point where the seed dry weight and quality is maximum. And after physiological maturity to harvest maturity, these things along with the germination, vigor start declining. This theory was given by the Harrington in 1972. And this hypothesis was supported for a long time. But in many crops, it shows contradiction with the harvest maturity. He was telling that the physiological maturity is the point where the quality and dry weight is maximum. And after that, it reduces slightly. But in most of the crop, it is not like that, particularly in the cucurbits. Up to the last maturity or up to the last day of maturity, till harvest maturity, seed attain its dry weight. And its maximum quality was observed at the time of harvest maturity, not at the time of physiological maturity. in our study, we found that the maximum seed quality in cucumber during physiological maturity, this was the quality part. Okay, but at the time of physiological maturity, which was attained in the 45 days from pollination under open field and 60 days from pollination under open field protected condition, we found that the maximum fruit and seed attributes were high. And simultaneously, when we go for the physiological and biochemical analysis, we found that there was a continuous supply of accumulation of the food reserve, that was protein, sugar, starch, and oil content. And we also observed that the seed, cucumber seed attained its germination ability at the 25 days. And then it increased substantially and reached up to maximum at the physiological maturity, and after that it started declining. All seed quality parameters were low in the early harvested fruits. Means if we harvest early, fruits, the quality parameters will be low. But if we go for the over ripened fruit for harvesting, there will be a shattering of the fruit, shattering of the seeds, or the quality may deteriorate. So optimum time of harvest is very much required. So as we discussed that at the physiological maturity, this protein, sugar, starch, and oil content was highest, or they clearly support that this was the major reason behind the increase in the fresh weight and dry weight during this stage of seed maturation. And interestingly, what we found that at the time of growth of the seed, or at the time of the succession of the maturation, the sugar content was high initially, and protein, starch, and oil was less. And as the maturation progress or the development progress, the protein, starch, and oil content increase and sugar decreases. So this may be hypothesized that the reduction in the sugar and increase in the starch may be due to the interconversion of sugar into the starch. One more thing, that the vegetables have the intermediate growth habit, and intermediate growth habit means all the food does not mature at the same time. So it is difficult to trace all the fruits maturity time with the days from pollination, because we are not going to tag each and every fruit. So we can see after 50 days you will harvest the fruit, because the difference in the duration is there. So we have to go some other markers which can clearly determine the physiological maturity as well as the harvest maturity, or in simple words, we need some markers which can clearly tell that this is the harvesting stage. Now we have to harvest. So for that, different morphological and physiological indicators are there, like fruit and seed color, complete plant wilt stage. In many cucurbits, the complete plant wilt stage is considered as the stage of harvesting. Seed moisture content is another indicator, seed dry weight, germination, and defect. So these are the some indicators of the morphological and physiological indicators for the harvesting of the crop. So this is a view of how cucumber fruits increase at the time of seed development up to this is up to the 70 or 75 days. And here we can see the variation in the fruit shape and which effect on the seed. Actually, this irregular shape of the fruit is mainly due to the improper pollination, or if there's some hurdle is present in between the growth of the fruit. So this type of shape normally occurs. So on we observe that in this deformed fruit, the quality and the quantity of the seed was very low. So the shape of the fruit is very much important to get to the best quality seeds. So these are the crop maturity stages. This is the table showing the different maturity stages. So we will see this with these photographs. So in tomato, actually green tomato stage is there, ripening tomatoes and ripened tomato. For the seed production, this stage is very much required because at that time the seed is totally filled. Gold seed we will get, good quality seed we will get. Similarly, in case of chili, if we go for the commercial selling of the chili, so this type of maturity is required. But if we go for the seed purpose, so completely red and dry chili is required for the seed production purpose. Coming to the okra, in okra, the best indicator is the splitting of the pod. Means hairline cracks will be shown, will be visible on the pod of the okra. So this is the best indicator of the harvesting. Similarly, in case of pumpkin, we can identify through the fruit color. We can go for the complete plant dry stage, or drying of the stalk is also an indicator. In case of bitter gourd, color change from yellow to orange, that is the best indicator. Complete plant dry stage in bitter gourd we cannot go. So because the fruit starts splitting and the seed will disperse out. So this stage is very much important in the bitter gourd. Similarly, in the ash gourd and summer squash, the physiological and morphological indicators are there. In case of brinjal, change in fruit color, and in peas, this fully dry peas, fully dry pod is the indicator for the seed that we harvesting. In bottle gourd, metallic sound. If we touch the finger to the this matured bottle gourd fruit, the metallic sound will be there. If you go for the ridge gourd, the totally color will be changed, and this type of fruit we will see at the time of maturity. So these are the some maturity indicators. And coming to the post-harvest ripening, as we discussed, the post-harvest ripening is the we allow this fruit to at the room temperature, and after we will go for the seed harvest. So it is considered that during this post-harvest ripening, seed continuously get the nutritions from the pulpy fruit. The stage of fruit harvest in combination with post-harvest ripening is significantly affect the yield and quality, as we see. And during this post-harvest ripening, increase in yield, particularly 1000 seed weight, flash weight, and dry weight, as the seed keep on receiving the accumulates, as I discussed earlier. And the increase in the field seed per fruit during post-harvest ripening, that indicated the reshuffling of the accumulates towards underdeveloped seed. So interestingly, what we see actually when we harvest the fruit, there are the higher number of underdeveloped seed. Or once we allow the seeds for the post-harvest ripening, so number of unfilled seed reduce, means there is a reshuffling of accumulates towards the underdeveloped seed at the time of post-harvest ripening. And during post-harvest ripening, seed get assimilates from the pulpy fruit, and seed composition change may be attributed to the development of older seeds, which directly or indirectly attributed to the increase in the seed quality during this post-harvest ripening. Improved vigor in post-harvest ripening may be attributed to the longer seed longevity and storability. The post-harvest ripened seed shows also the good storability. So, standardization of the seed position on the plant and fruit. This is also a very good factor which directly affects the yield and quality. Actually, when we go for the vegetable production, so we are mainly concerning with the yield. But in case of the seed production, the quality is also very much required. So the position of the ovule. Ovule means the position of the fruit on the plant, and the position of the ovule. Position of the ovary or the fruit on the plant, and position of ovules within the fruit is very much required. So let me show you. This is a fruit. Okay. So this, if we see this fruit, we can divide it into the three parts. That is the styler end, that is the middle end, that is the peduncular end. And this ovary receive the pollen from this styler end. So this part will get the vigorous pollen as compared to this part. So and this part will pollinate first through the vigorous pollen. So there are the more chances of the good quality seed here and here. But in case of peduncular segment, the pollen the pollen have to reach pollen tube have to reach from styler end to the peduncular, so it is sometimes very difficult. So the number of seeds and the quality of seeds in peduncular segment remain poor. Seed from different segment of the fruit show significant different performance indicated. Seed within a fruit from different plant, not of the similar age, as they do not mature at the same rate and the same time as we discussed in this. And why this happens? This happens actually maybe due to the pollen grain germination, pollen tube growth, zygote formation, and seed development and maturation may not occur at the same time and at the same rate. And normally ovules located closer to the point of the entry of the pollen tube at the styler end show a lower probability of abortion, while those found farther from the entry point, means the peduncular end, show the higher probability of abortion. And seed from advantageous position, which is styler and middle segment, shows the higher seed dry weight quality, whereas the seed from the disadvantageous positions like peduncular segment, they show a low quality and they fail reach to maturity. Seed from middle and styler segment gave the higher dry weight quality yield, probably due to the higher assimilated supply. So because they receive the good quality pollen and they start developing first, so they receive the higher assimilated supply as compared to the other part of the seeds. Simultaneously, the cylindrical shape of the fruits, when we go for the cucurbits, some of the cucurbits are cylindrical in shape. So the shape of the fruit also affects the quality of the seeds. The wider space at middle segment and styler segment will allow the seed to develop in a better way as compared to the narrow end, which is the peduncular segment. Styler and middle segment had a temporal and spatial advantage in receiving the vigorous pollen, as we discussed earlier. Hence, it could be recommended that optimum quality seed of, particularly in cucurbits, should be harvested from the middle or styler segment. Again, the next approach to address these problems will be the enhancing the pollination efficiency. Actually, the pollen availability, or we can say the receiving a good quality pollen is a prerequisite for the good quality seed. So pollination efficiency can be enhanced by the arranging frequent visit of the insect pollinators. So how we can arrange this visit? So we can go for the placing of beehives, or we can go for the pollinator attractant application, or in case of hybrid seed production, we have to go to the hand emasculation and pollination. So by following these approaches, we can enhance the pollination. So once the ovule or the egg will get the pollen and the fertilized, so there are the more chances to develop into the seeds. So another opportunity or another the solution may be the plant energy management. Actually, once the plant the ovule receive the pollen, the fertilization will occur and it start developing in the seed. But if the plant doesn't have the energy to fulfill all the pollinated seeds, so it will be difficult to get the good quality seed. So in case plant energy management is very much important. So plant energy management can be done by the two ways. Actually, first is the fruit load management or the fruit retention management. Means whatever the energy plant have, we will manage this energy only. And in second approach, we will additionally apply the energy from outside. In case of exogenous application of micronutrient or chemicals or PGPRs or hormones, many methods are there. But these are the two approaches which we follow to manage the plant energy. So what is the fruit retention? Fruit retention is the number of fruits allowed to mature on the mother plant. So if we allow more number of fruits on the plant, that will result in the higher seed setting, but poor quality. We allow the more number of fruits, the number of seeds or the yield will be high, but the quality will be poor. Vice versa, if we go for the less number of the fruit, the quality will be good, but the yield will compromise. So there is a standardization should be there. How many number of fruits we should allow without compromising the yield and without compromising the quality. So this is the view. You can see the number of one fruit per vine in cucumber. There is a two fruit per vine in cucumber, and this is the view of summer squash with one fruit, two fruit, and three fruit. Normally, plant produce, normally what happens, the sufficient number of female flowers and more than required male flowers are produced by the plant. But still the pollination of all the female flower does not convert all the pollinate ovaries into the mature fruits. So the cucurbits have, and besides that, the cucurbits have inbuilt mechanism to fruit set inhibition. Means the presence of older developing fruit will not allow the younger ovaries to develop. Why it is happening? Because the photosynthetic activity of developing fruit seeds do not produce enough resource to support their own development. Means once the fruit, first fruit is developed, it will not allow the second fruit to develop. It won't share its resources to other fruits. So the first fruit formed on the basal node of a vine has a larger share of photosynthesis as compared to the fruit developed at other nodes. Or at the first formed fruit are bigger in the size, or they have suppressing effect on the fruits from which are developing subsequently. Many fruits and seed development attributes were higher with retention of one fruit per vine. We are talking in case of cucumbers. When we allow one fruit per vine, the quality attributes were high. But retention of the two fruit, when we go for the two fruit per vine, the yield was high without compromising the quality. So two fruit per vine in case of cucumber is recommended as compared to the one or three fruits. So another approach may be, as I discussed, that exogenous application of micronutrient or PGPR or hormone or any other chemical to enhance the plant energy. So various methods are available for to application of these chemicals. Like we can go for the soil application, we can go for the foliar application, or we can apply these chemicals through priming or coating. But the foliar application is most effective. Why? Because in priming and coating, a small quantity is applied to the seed, which is sufficient only for the early growth. But in case of and in soil application, when we apply this micronutrient in the soil, or most of the part will leach out, and plant will receive only a very few portion, up to the 2 to 5% in the case of most of the micronutrient. So the foliar application, where we apply the micronutrient or any other chemical in the form of on the foliar part, so it is most effective. So here we will discuss about the micronutrient application in form of nano, how it affects the plant yield and quality. Actually, we found that the positive impact of zinc and iron nanoparticles foliar application on the physiological and biochemical parameter of cucumber seeds, which finally enhance the yield and quality. And nanoparticles, actually, due to their small size, they are less than 100 nanometer. So they show many physiochemical properties which are different from their bulk counterparts, like higher surface area, high reactivity, high solubility, penetration capacity, surface volume ratio. So all these things make them better suitable for agriculture. As they required in the low quantity. Then
अलग अलग होएंगे
Someone's mic is on.
दो मुझे सूट
Please
फास्ट
mute
एड होना
yourself.
अच्छे लगे हैं हेलो
Ma'am,
क्योंकि
please
पहले
mute
ज्यादा रहता
yourself.
होते तो मैंने
Okay. So these properties, these unique physiochemical properties of nanoparticles make them best suitable for the agriculture application. And use of nanoparticle through foliar application have the advantage over these commercial fertilizers or the other other commercial formulations, as they show the target and control delivery of micronutrient and apply in a small quantity. So this is the view of vegetable seed production at IIVR. So you can see the field, the chili in the field. This is the dry chili for seed extraction. This is the seed production of Indian bean. Crush the fruit and after 1 day or 24 hours, we extract the seeds. So this is the view of pea seed production at IIVR Varanasi. So this is the pea crop in the field. You can see the crop is free from off-type plants, disease plants, and this is, I think, this is the mid-maturity stage, and this is the mature pod, harvested pod, and this is the harvested seed with these pods. So this was in a nutshell, and if anyone have a question, I will be happy to answer. So this is the suggested reading. Actually, if someone want to read, so these are the suggested readings. Thank you, Vanessa.
Thank you, sir. Our participants, if they have any questions, they may take the opportunity to interact with us, sir. Hello. Participants, please, you may ask the questions. You may put questions in the chat box.
Yeah, it will be better. You can ask the question in chat box.
Okay, so we don't have any questions. So thank you, sir, for such an informative lecture. And actually, sir, the thing is, though we are teachers, but then we got to learn many things from you, because seed science, actually, what I feel, it's such a neglected subject.
Yes, yes.
Like especially for
It is very important commodity.
for seed science, seed technology. So it's such a good thing that we got this opportunity to hear and gain lots of knowledge, sir. And so hopefully next time as well we get a chance to interact with you again, sir.
Definitely. Thank you, ma'am. It will be
Thank
my
you, sir.
pleasure.
So next session we'll be having from 2 o'clock. So I said to join the link again. Okay, sir.
Sir, we can now lift the meeting.
Yeah, I'll check. Yeah. Do you have any questions, specific questions? Okay, so I think if there is no questions, we will end up the session now. The afternoon session will start by 2 o'clock. Okay, please join us at 2 p.m. Thank you.